Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This is for anybody who is an author of a nonfiction book. Have you recorded your audiobook yet? What are you waiting for? You should be doing that. They're so popular. It's exponentially speeding up in terms of how many people are now reading and listening to their books. And if you've had an aversion for doing that, you're afraid to take the next step, we're going to help you out with that. I've got a coach for you. And by the way, you are going to record your audiobook with his help. Yes, I mean your voice. You can do it. We'll get to that. Robert Lane from Robert Lane Coaching joins us once again on the program. Welcome back, Robert. How you doing?
Good, Steve. Thank you. Yeah, doing great. You know, you mentioned about the popularity of audiobooks, and it's true. I think the percentage is about 83% of the population listens to audiobooks. It's a huge number, and it's growing and expanding. Audiobook sales growth is looking to be in the $1 billion mark.
Wow.
By 2030, it's a huge market. Huge market.
You know, it's funny. I was just talking to a friend who's reading the new Britney Spears book, and I actually got it for her as a surprise because she was just too busy to get it when she's reading it over the weekend. And I said, have you considered the audiobook portion of it? And she's like, well, what do you mean? You mean like if I'm driving in my car, I could yes, you could listen to it. Britney didn't record it. Michelle Williams, the actress, did. Why? I'm not really sure the connection. All the big books have it. Even the smaller books have an audiobook version of it. And for anybody that's not really sure how to do it, I'm not even sure how you go with the process of getting it to the different, you call them the AAA, right?
The AAA, that's Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. Those are the three distribution platforms you definitely need to be on. There are other distribution platforms, of course, but depending on what your marketing strategy is, maybe that works for you to hit those other distribution platforms. But the AAA, you definitely have to be on because those are the most popular, and that's where people go to first. They go to Audible, they go to Apple Books, and they always check Amazon to see if a book is in audiobook form.
So, question for you. I know that Spotify is really kicking it up, especially even in podcasts right now. Do they do audiobooks? And if they do, if somebody said to you, yeah, I want to be on Spotify as well, could you do it?
Sure. I mean, there's a procedure to get your book submitted through that. I do focus on the AAA, though when we have our consultation talk, which I do with every potential client, you book a call with me so we can talk about your book and talk about these things because these are all important. This is all part of the audiobook coaching program, and that's planning out what it is that you want to do with your book. Because if you do want to be on Spotify or Barnes & Noble or any of these other distribution platforms, in addition to Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books, then that comes into play whether you're exclusive to Audible, Amazon, or Apple, or you're non-exclusive. And that has a bearing on the royalty payout that they pay you. To be exclusive or non-exclusive. But again, depending what your marketing strategy is, if being exclusive and just on those three platforms works for you because that's where your audience is and that's where you're targeting, great. If it's not, if you need to be on other platforms to get your book distributed, that's fine too. But these are things that we talk about so that we can plan over the 6-week program what you're going to do marketing-wise as you record your audiobook.
And you take care of everything except the actual talking or recording of the book. You know, literally everything, right? Everything you've got it handled.
Absolutely. So the only thing that the author would really, I really wouldn't say worry about it, but just that they're focused on is doing a great narration. The whole point of the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is to remove the hassle, the confusion, the overwhelm, all those things that a lot of authors feel overwhelmed with when it comes to recording an audiobook. Oh, I don't have a studio. Problem solved. I send you the professional recording equipment so you can set up your own recording space, and I teach you how to do it. There you go. You know, I don't know how to do a narration. Problem solved. I teach you the fine art of voiceover, how to do a compelling narration, how to be conversational, how to be authentic, how to use your gift, which is your voice, and to be compelling and engaging from opening credits to closing credits. Oh, I don't know how to get my book on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. Problem solved. You send your audio files to me. I do all the editing for you. I make sure they meet the exact specifications, and I do the uploading to those digital platforms, distribution platforms, so that you do get published, and you will be 100% guaranteed published on those platforms by the end of the 6-week program. 6 weeks, not 6 months, not 6 years, 6 weeks. Action takers are success makers. We make you successful in 6 weeks.
I love the way you're presenting that. So if I may continue with that, I am going to be the author, and I have questions for you.
Okay.
And I'm just going to throw them out.
Let's do it.
Robert, I understand that you provide the equipment for everybody you work with. I'm not a geek. I don't know how to set that up. What do I do?
When we have our consultation meeting, because we have our call, you book a call with me. There's a link on my website at robertlanecoaching.com. It says book a call, book your call. So when we talk about that and you get enrolled, the first thing I do is I send you a microphone, I send you a professional headphones, I send you a sound isolation screen, a pop filter, and I talk about the audio software that you use, that you download, which is a free audio software that many people use called Audacity. And I teach you step by step how to do it. There's video lessons in the program. Yeah. You just watch the video, and it is literally step by step. I show you visually how to connect everything. There's a downloadable PDF that you can use as reference to help you. And really, it's not that complicated. You just find a comfortable, quiet space that you want to set up. It's that simple. No hassles. You can do it.
I have an aversion to being very public, and nobody's going to hear this except you and me, right? Initially,
of course. I understand that a lot of people have some fears when it comes to public speaking. Maybe when they do this, have a microphone in front of their face, it makes them nervous. And that's very understandable. And that comes down to whether it's a fear of speaking in public, or it can also be a fear of thinking that you don't have the voice that's going to be compelling enough for people to want to listen to. And that, again, is a false belief. You do have a voice, you have a great voice, because that's what makes you so unique. Your writing style is unique, obviously, because this is your style. You're just bringing that style into an audible form by speaking it into your voice, and by you narrating it yourself, you're telling your story the way you want to tell it. You're talking, you're speaking your magic, your emotion, your feeling, the way that you express it, not the way some other narrator is going to interpret it. You're going to interpret it the way that you want to have it heard. And that's the beauty of it. So you do have the ability to do it. And I know on a previous podcast, Steve, you played samples, and you're like, these guys sound like professional voiceovers. And that's how you can sound. 100% you can do that. So again, we do talk about the confidence aspect of it. Matter of fact, I'm going to share a little story in my book called Lights Action. I wrote this book, and so as a self-published author, I went through the same rigors of writing and publishing a book. So I understand where you're coming from as an author. Been there. So in one of the chapters is I call it Double Bag It, and that's what the chapter is called. And basically, it deals with this. Who cares what other people think? Now, as an author, you're probably thinking, well, I care what people think about my book. Yeah, of course. But that's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is this. Who cares what other people think, or what you think what other people think about your voice? All right? People don't care about what your vocal tone is. They care about what your story is. They care about the content. You should not be self-conscious about how you sound, because people are more interested in what you have to say. And that's the reason why you wrote your book in the first place, right? Getting down to that core reason of why you were compelled to write the book. Same thing applies when you're recording your audiobook. You're bringing that same purpose and that same energy to your audiobook. So who cares what other people think? Because honestly, you care what other people think. They don't care because you have this fear or apprehension about your voice. And you got to crush that fear. You got to crush that false belief. You got to embrace this great voice of yours, love this great voice of yours, and appreciate this voice that you have.
You know what it reminds me of? That phrase, dance like nobody's watching.
Yes.
Right? Just
Yeah.
do your thing. And I will share this too, along the same lines of what you're talking about here today. You know, working in radio for years, you get a cold. We all get them, right? You think that you sound a certain way. Oh, I sound all stuffed up today. Oh my gosh, everybody's going to know I sound horrible. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the air and have a cold and somebody says, really? I didn't even notice. And then others would say to me, you know, even doing podcasts, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to sound like today. I'm all congested. Really, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
We hear it. And we worry, to your point, what others are going to think about the way we sound. And we just need to take that and box it up and throw it away because it's false. Like you said, it's a false belief. People don't care. They're not listening for the way you sound. They're listening for your book, the words, the intent, the content, and probably most importantly, how you're telling your story. And nobody's going to tell it better than you.
Nobody is going to tell it better than you can as the author. As a nonfiction author, it's your story. You put your blood, sweat, and tears and heart and soul into this wonderful book that you were compelled to write and put out there in the world because there's a purpose to it. And all that energy that you put into writing your book is the same energy that you bring to the table when you do your audiobook narration. Now, the story I tell in my book about who cares what other people think. When I was working at 20th Century Fox in Los Angeles on the studio lot, the building that I worked in was on one end of the lot, and they had a gym on the lot, which was convenient. It was great because you can go work out. And that was on the other end of the lot. Now, my gym bag was a double bagged brown paper bag, like a grocery bag. That was my gym bag. You know, but I love my gym bag. It was convenient. I packed it up in a certain way. It was great. You know, but I got teased about it, you know, from my coworkers. You know, you go to the locker room and other people are kind of, you know, snickering at my gym bag. But, you know, it's like, hey, it worked for me. But I understand that kind of made me a little bit self-conscious. So when I start to feel a little self-conscious about taking that 10-minute walk across the studio lot with a bag full of gym clothes, I'd just stop and I'd say to myself, who cares what other people think? And you say it not in a mean or a vindictive way. You're just stating a fact. Who cares what other people think? And then I followed that up with one of my infamous catchphrases. Maybe we'll be infamous at some time. I don't know. And that is, I am who I am. I do what I do. And I am not ashamed of it. And that's all I needed to say to just give myself that little confidence boost to walk proud with my double-bagged brown paper bag gym bag across the lot. And that was it. And, you know, the same thing with an author. You are who you are. You do what you do, meaning this is my voice, this is how I sound. And I love the way I speak. I love the way I sound. I love how I am able to convey my story across. And I am not ashamed of it. You're not ashamed of your voice. You love your voice, and you have to have that confidence. And we talk about that in the audiobook coaching program. It's not just, here's what you do, set up, hit record, good luck. No, as your coach, I'm with you every step of the way. When there are confidence issues, when there are things that maybe you're struggling with, that's where we talk. That's why the one-on-one coaching plan is so great, because you have me there with you as your safety net, as your support system, as your accountability partner. I'm not going to let you fall. I'm going to make sure that you sound fantastic, and you will. You're going to be so proud of how you sound by the end of the whole program. You're going to love that book, and you're especially going to love your voice. And here's the funny thing about the story, just to wrap the brown paper bag story up. After a while, I had people, like my coworkers, would bring in a brown paper bag and they say, "Ha ha! Look, I got you another gym bag," and I'm like, "Hey, great!" So I got a free gym bag. And here's the other thing, you know, you can spend 50, 100, $200 on a fancy gym bag. After a while, it's going to get worn, and even no matter how many times you try to clean it, it's going to start getting that stinky gym smell, and you're not going to be able to get it out. So what are you going to do? You're going to throw out this plastic bag into the trash? Well, I have a double bag brown paper bag, and and after it gets worn out, you put in recycling, and then you
Love it.
get another gym bag, you get another free bag. So it's very affordable, obviously, and you're recycling it. You don't have to throw it out. So what a great thing. And other people in the gym started to compliment me about my gym bag. They're like, "That's actually a really good idea." So you see, it turns things around. When you turn that mindset around, I am who I am, I do what I do, and I'm not ashamed of it. And you apply that to you as a nonfiction author narrating your own audiobook, you'll be fine.
You brought back a memory for me. I let years go by, didn't go to the gym. And about 4 years ago, I signed up. New place, literally right next door, big, beautiful gym.
Uh-huh.
And when I first started going again, I worried what people would think. Well, look, he looks, he's kind of a schlub. What is he wearing? Whatever. And then you get to the point where it's like, I don't care what people think. I am what I am. And exactly what you said. It's kind of the same way. And you look at it this way too. When we're afraid, if anybody's afraid of recording their voice for an audiobook, look at it this way. No one can sound like you. You are unique. Think of all the actors out there. Think of some of them in certain TV shows that have, you listen to the voice, like, whoa, that's kind of interesting voice you have there. They're making tons of money with their voice because it is unique. Everybody's voice is unique, and that's what makes you you. And we can never forget that. We can never forget that.
Never forget that, because again, that is what makes you you, and that's why you want to bring your special uniqueness. You've already brought it to your book in written
Right.
form. Bring it, as an audiobook, because it preserves the integrity of your book. It preserves your unique style. And this is why people who are attracted to reading your book will be attracted to listening to your book, because they are following you as an author, because you resonate with them. And that's a beautiful thing. And it's funny when you're talking about voices and, look at the band Rush. All right. When I first heard Geddy Lee, I was like, I hated Rush because I couldn't stand his voice. It's like, it sounds like this high pitched screechy. But you know what? I love that band. That band is so incredible. And it's one of my all-time favorite bands. And you know what? It doesn't bother me. Obviously his singing was very unique, and it's funny because he knew about it, and the critics would just razz them about that in the early days. But they are three phenomenal musicians. He's a phenomenal multi instrumentalist, which is incredible, and could sing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you know what? Hey, here's a guy who used his talent and his voice to do something that he loved and was very successful at it. And you as a nonfiction author are no different.
Look at somebody, I'm going to go old school here for a second, but her voice just popped in my head. Fran Drescher. Remember the TV show The Nanny?
Yeah.
Like, who would ever think somebody with a New York accent that sounds like they're nasally? She became such a known celebrity and entity based on the way she sounds, and loved. Like, I think that was the beginning of why there's a fascination with New Yorkers. I really do, because of that voice, that accent, all of that makes her her. And
Yeah.
what makes you you is everything that's within you. But I will say this: if I was an author, I could never do any of this without you. I wouldn't even though I have an audio background, all that, I wouldn't do it, because I don't know what's needed. I don't know how the files are prepared, the triple A, what they want, how to market books, all of that. That's all you. So when somebody works with you, you literally are the coach. You're taking them by the hand and walking them right through the entire process, which it's almost like you can't put a price on that. It's like you also become a friend. It's a relationship that you have with them, right?
It is a relationship, and this is why when you are interested in working with me, that's why we have initial call first, because it is establishing a relationship. We're going to be working together. I want to find out about your book. I need to know what your marketing strategies are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you, of course, all the details about the program. And then if it resonates with you, we just get you enrolled. And the beauty about it is this: you can start working on your book right away. It's all there. Once you enroll, you have access to all the video lessons. So just start watching them while you're waiting for your equipment to arrive. When your equipment arrives, you've already watched the video on how to set it up. And then when we have our first meeting, because we have weekly one-on-one calls every week, there's also an office hours that I reserve. In addition to that, if you want 2 calls, you got 2 calls a week. If you need it, that's fine. And I'm there with you every step of the way. And again, having 20 plus years as an editor, audio editor, you don't have to find an editor. You don't have to find a studio. You don't have to do any of that. It's all provided for you. And all you need to do is just do a great narration. And again, as your coach, I'm there to make sure that you sound great. It's that easy.
You are going to do a great narration. There's no telling. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I know you will, because you have him. He is going to make sure it sounds great, because you do a test file before you do anything. And if there's an issue with the way you sound, maybe you're too close to the mic, maybe too far away, maybe your inflection isn't right, maybe you're kind of quiet and we need to kick it up a little bit.
Right.
So we're going to know that before you get started. You're not wasting any time. When I say you, I mean the author of the book.
That's right. So, and that's all part of the program. And again, we spend time on the mindset aspect of things, because that is so important, as well as the practical and physical things that you need to know when you record your audiobook. And then when you send your test file, I analyze it to make sure that it sounds great. And if it does, green light, go for it. And then if there's any issues at all, I'll let you know about it. If it is too low, I recently had a client who sent a file and his audio was just way too low. So we talked about it, had to make some adjustments. He sent me a new file for me to listen to. Fine, it was great. And then he just went to town, man. He just was like recording chapter after chapter after chapter and sending it. So, and his thing was, and he said to me, you know what? This is so much fun. This is so much fun. He was loving doing his audiobook. And you, as an author, you're going to love it. You will love it.
Yeah. I got to imagine you must feel like a superstar when you're recording your book, because it's yours. You birthed your baby as a book. Now you're doing the audio to it. It's so personal to you. And now everybody on the planet can hear it. And let's hope buy it, which is, another goal. There are some people that say, all right, I did a book. I don't really care if anybody buys it. I just feel like I wanted to get the word out there. Everybody has a different goal for writing a book and, of course, recording it. So the starting point here is we go to the website and we sign up for a consultation, which is totally free. I also I want to share that the samples that we played last week are on the website. Listen to them. I think they're so cool. And for you, that initial consultation is how long does it typically take?
I have them schedule a half an hour. Sometimes it's 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes a half an hour. It all depends on, how deep we get into talking about your book and your marketing goals. Right. And then we just get you enrolled. It's really that simple. But you know what? Again, action takers are success makers. The other phrase is procrastination equals stagnation. You got to move forward with your business, because you know what? You are an author. This is your product. This is your brand. Give yourself another format to give to your followers and your readers and, soon to be listeners. It's a great way to really promote yourself. And we do talk about, the marketing aspect too. So, again, like you say, Steve, go to the website, robertlanecoaching.com, book a call. That's my calendar link. just schedule a call and you will talk to me directly.
Even if your book has been out for a little while, this is like breathing new life into it. Now you have
Yes.
something new to promote. It's the same book, but a different format, different version of it. So now you can get the word out there. And maybe you didn't do a lot of social media for it previously. Maybe now you can kick that up. You have a reason. You can even share a sample on your social media once you get to that point. Robert, there's so much. I mean, we just keep going. There's so many.
I know.
This is fun. Knowing that somebody can record their own audiobook with your help. To me, that's fun. If you're an author, I'm not one, but I could just imagine how exciting it must be that it takes a whole new shape and form. Even if your book's not published, they can also get going on this and put the standard version and the audiobook version out at the same time, right?
You can do that. You can plan a launch like that. I mean,
Sure.
it's preferable to have your ebook or paperback or hardcover published
Sure.
first, but you can hold back on an official launch. Just because it goes live doesn't mean that's the launch and the end all. You
Right.
can still plan a launch. It could be live, but then you're not promoting the fact that it's up there until you on launch day, and then you can do a big launch with your audiobook, with your ebook, paperback. You can do it all at the same time if you want, and that's something again we discuss in our consultation.
Awesome. Robert, always great having you with us. Love the insight. Love your energy and your passion for helping people. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.